Hey guys, we made it to the fourth 9 weeks mid-test review. This will be your first or your last big test before STAR. So this is over personal financial literacy, and then there's a bunch of spiraling questions from earlier this year. So number 1 says, the table below shows the monthly fees for the checking accounts at 2 banks. So we've got Bank A, and it says the monthly fee for Bank A is 2% of checking account balance. And then it says Bank B is just a flat $10, no matter what you have in the bank. The question says, which statement is best supported by the information in the table? So I always tell my kids, if you see the word always when you're talking about banks, that's never your answer. We've talked about how a bank that works for me might not work for Miss Basham or might not work for you. So anytime you see this word always, that is never the answer. Bank A is not always better, and Bank B is not always better. So I'm going to go ahead and cross those out. Okay, then we've got C. It says the fee at Bank A will be more than, there's a key word, that means greater than, right? The fee at Bank B only when a customer's balance, again, is more than, is greater than $500. Well, I know that the fee at Bank B, no matter what I have in there, is $10. So the fee is going to stay $10. But Bank A, I have to find 2% of 500. So there's a couple ways to do that. We could do Dr. Pepper and multiply. We could do fraction bar plus fraction bar. Or we know finding 1% is moving the decimal over 2 places. That's 1%, which is $5. So 2% would be $10. So I know at exactly $500 where they're the same. But if I go more, guess what is going to happen to the interest? It's going to be greater than, and that's what this says right here. So C is our correct answer. D is not the correct answer because it says less than here. So that is what makes it wrong. Okay.
Number 2, Mrs. Neal wants to buy a new phone, but she does not have enough money in her bank account to pay for one. Which of these is not an option for Mrs. Neal? Okay, so remember, in our bank account, we're talking about her money. All right, so let's read these. She can use her credit card to buy the phone now. All right, remember, a credit card is not your money, so she could have that option. She can save money and pay cash for the phone at a later date. You always have the option to save and pay later. You don't have to do it now. She can use her debit card to buy the phone now. Remember, that debit card is your money, and it just said that she does not have enough money in her bank account, so she cannot do that. She can save money and use her debit card to buy the phone at a later date, and that's the same as choice B, so C would be the one that she could not do.
Okay. Next one says, which of these is most likely the number of years that this negative information will remain on your credit report? So we actually learned today, this Friday, that negative information can remain on your credit reports for 7 years. That's a long time. Okay, so information will stay that long. And then we also learned that if you have to file for bankruptcy, that will stay on your account for 10 years. So 7 to 10 years is the correct amount.
Ooh, check register, just like our project. Hey, if you haven't bought anything for the silent auction, you should totally do that.
Yes, check out our Amazon wish list.
Yes, a portion of Mrs. Kim's check register showed her checking account balance of $560 on April 8th. So that's what they're talking about right here. Based on the information in the check register, what is the balance of Mrs. Kim's checking account after the transaction on April 16th? So we're talking about here and here. So there's some math I need to do to get here. Remember, a withdrawal, that's taking any money out of your checking account, and a deposit is putting money into your checking accounts. And of course, there's all sorts of different ways we could do this. We could add together, then subtract, and all that good stuff. But let's just take it one baby step at a time so I don't mess up. Can I rest my hand on this?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with my beginning balance. Remember, we have to line up decimals when we're adding and subtracting. So withdrawal means I'm going to subtract $45, lining everything up. Now, remember, when that's 0, we've got to borrow or regroup or however you know it. So I'm going to take from the 6. That becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 1 and 5. Okay? And I like to fill it in as I go just to keep myself organized in case I can't read my writing later over there. Then I have another withdrawal, $175.50. Okay, so this is that big borrowing that some of us have struggled with. So the zeros, I can't do 0 minus 5, so I'm going to borrow. That becomes a 10. Okay, now I can't do 4 minus 5, so I got to borrow as again. 14 minus 5 is 9. Now I have another 0 that I can't do.
I'm borrowing like crazy.
10 minus 7 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. And guys, a lot of y'all know how to do this, but you don't give yourself enough room. Like I was a little bit nervous because I didn't give myself enough room right there. Get some scratch paper on your test. Give yourself plenty of room.
Yes.
Like I would rather do the work big one time and not make a mistake than keep making mistakes over and over because I'm trying to squish it.
And you can't read your own writing.
Now remember, I'm going to add. So $6.35 and 40 cents. Yay, I don't have to borrow. 90 cents. 9 plus 5 is 14. Carry my 1. Okay. So that is $974.90. And this is one of those fill in the blank ones. Yes.
I actually think on the test it is not.
Okay.
I think it's multiple choice, but yes, this one would be
okay.
Blank.
So remember, this is a positive amount, and we want to make sure to get our decimal. Okay. So I don't have to add that 0, but I like to because we're talking about money. $974.90.
This next one says Miss McDaniel received financial assistance to pay for her college education. After she graduates, she will have to pay back the amount of money she received plus any interest that occurs after graduation. What kind of financial assistance does Miss McDaniel receive? A, student loan. B, a scholarship. C, work study. D, a savings plan. So it said in this that after she graduated, that she will have to pay back the amount of money she received plus any interest. So that tells me that she had to borrow money. So when we're looking at these answer choices, if you look at B, it says scholarship. Well, we've talked about scholarship. Scholarship is whenever have we talked about scholarship?
We're going to do it on Monday.
Okay, we're going to be talking about scholarship. And scholarship is whenever you apply for money and people give you money that you do not have to pay back. Then work study, that's when you're working for money that will go towards your tuition. So the money that it costs to go to school, that work study money, is going to go there. And then the savings plan. The only thing that talks about money that you have to pay back is student loan. That word loan is money that you're borrowing to pay back. So it's after she graduates, she'll have to pay back loan.
I like
So your answer is A.
pointer. I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, I use that all the time.
That's cool. Okay. So next we've got Sadie is researching the effects of education on annual income. A summary of her research is shown on the table. So she researched 3 different levels of education. We've got a high school diploma. The average annual income is about $40,000 or $40,612. If you get an associate's degree, that's high school plus you do 2 years of college. That is around $45,732. And then a bachelor's degree, that means you go to college for 4 years. That's $58,200. So you can see the more school you go, the more money on average, that's not for everybody, but on average that you make. So it says, based on the data in the table, how much more does a person with an associate's degree, so associate's degrees right here, make than a person with only a high school diploma? That's right here. And then it says this, over 5 years. So we're looking at not just 1 year, but 5 years. So there's 2 different ways you could go about this. We could go ahead and multiply the high school diploma earnings by 5, and then the associates by 5, and then subtract to find the difference, because again, that how much more tells me I'm subtracting. Or we can go ahead and subtract and then multiply our answer by 5. Either way would work, which I'm going to do it that way. So again, if I'm doing how much more, I'm going to put the associate's degree on top because they're earning more. They have more. So 45 $28,732 is on top. And I'm subtracting the high school diploma, $40,612. So I've got 2 minus 2 is 0, 3 minus 1 is 2, 7 minus 6 is 1, 5 minus 0 is 5, and 4 minus 4 is 0. So that is only for 1 year. And notice, that's an answer choice.
I bet
Don't
lots of people pick it.
fall for it. They're tricking you. Don't fall for it. Now we have to take it and do it for 5 years. So I've got to multiply, this is 1 year, and do it for 5 years. So 5 times 0 is 0, yes. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 1, plus another 1 is 6. Did I mess up? And then 5 times 5 is 25. So over 5 years, a person with a high school, with an associate degree makes $25,600 more on average than a person with just a high school diploma.
Oh, good. It's my problem.
Ooh.
Mrs. Basham wrote the inequality. 2 plus 5 is less than or equal to 18. Which situation is best represented by this inequality? Okay, so anytime I have inequality going into word problems, the biggest thing is how we understand our key words.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go through and read and look for keywords that mean less than or equal to. Mrs. Basham spent 18 minutes making P phone calls. Each call was at least. I know Miss Basham likes to sing this. So at least, greater than or equal to. And that is not a match, so I would never pick A. Mrs. Basham placed P pieces of paper in 18 stacks. Each stack had, that's supposed to be at most 5 pieces of paper. Okay, so if I'm confused on some keywords, here's what I always do. I pretend Mama sends me into the store and says, hey, you can spend at most $5. So if I can spend at most $5, I can spend $5. I cannot spend more, but I can spend less. So that is my less than or equal to. So that is a good match keyword. Mrs. Basham removed AQ marbles from a bag of P marbles. Afterwards, there were at least. I already know that one's greater than or equal to. Mrs. Basham had blah, 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 no more than. Okay, Mama sent you to the store and said you can spend no more than $18. So no more than also means less than or equal to.
Look, just by knowing our keywords, we marked out 2 answers.
Yep, so I haven't done any math. All I did was match up keywords. So now let's go and look. I know I have a number I don't know, and I'm adding 5 to it. So Mrs. Basham placed P pieces of paper in 18 stacks. Each stack had at most 5 pieces of paper. Okay, that doesn't really sound like addition to me. After Mrs. Basham added
keyword
5 books to a stack of P books, so there was that amount. Adding 5, there was no more than 18. So D, I found keywords of addition. I found keywords for less than or equal to. And that's the only one that matches up good.
Paulina made the table below to show the distance she hit each of the 4 golf balls as a portion of the full length of the golf range. Which golf went the furthest distance?
Ladder!
Yep, that's our strategy, is our ladder. So we're going to write it down. We've got 0.6. We've got 3/4. We've got 64%. We've got 50%. Okay. So, Miss Neal, what do you want to do? Do you want to turn these into fractions? You want to make them all decimals?
Money.
Let's do
Decimals for the win.
So we're making this look like money. So we've got 60 cents here. And then 3/4. That's a benchmark. So what would that be as a benchmark? Let's think quarters. That's 3 out of 4 quarters. How many quarters would that be, Basham?
75 cents.
75 cents. We've got 64%.
Man, I could go for Dr. Pepper
Ooh,
right
it
now.
sounds so good.
Don't forget Dr. Pepper when we've got those percents. I didn't write those down, but those are percent. And when we go percent to decimal, we just move it over. How many times?
2.
2 times. We move it over twice. 1, 2. That becomes 0.64. That's 64 cents. And then we've got 50%. Again, we're going percent to decimal. We'll move over twice. 1, 2. That becomes 50 cents. Okay, so now we're putting these in order. We forgot to talk about which order we're going into.
I don't think we're going in order. It's just the furthest distance.
Furthest distance.
But we could put them in order.
What is we need to know the greatest distance, right?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and put them in order from least to greatest, just for
Least
funsies.
to greatest. So the smallest amount of money, what is it?
50 cents.
50 cents. Let's label that 1. Next is
60 cents.
60 cents. Let's label that 2. Next is
64
cents, 3. And then finally the furthest distance, 4, would be 75 cents. And that is golf ball number 2.
Awesome.
Okay, number next says, Miss Kemp recorded temperatures of negative 19 degrees, negative 25 degrees, negative 21 degrees, and negative 13 degrees. I don't know where Miss Kemp went, but that's not in Texas. Over a period of 5 days. Which of these is the lowest temperature? So I always tell my kids with negative numbers, we've got to reverse our brains. The one that looks the biggest is actually the smallest because it's farther away from 0. It's farther away from all those positive big numbers. So I'm really looking for the biggest negative. That is going to be the lowest temperature. That's when I'm going to be freezing cold, right? So we've got negative 19, negative 25, negative 21, and negative 13. And it looks like negative 25 is my biggest negative. So actually it is the lowest temperature.
All right, Mrs. Neal has 8 yards of border to put around a garden. She uses all the border to make 7 sections that are not the same length. Which expression does not equal the length of one of those sections in yards? Okay, so this is our Ned and Donkey, guys. So I got my numerator over my denominator. And remember, what is on top is what I'm cutting into pieces. So this is going to be my total that I'm cutting up. Okay, so Miss Neal, are you cutting up the 8 yards or the 7 sections?
I'm cutting up the 8 yards.
Okay. So I'm definitely wanting to cut up this 8 yards into 7 sections. I'm reading, it says which expression does not equal. Okay, so there's lots of different strategies on this. I know that this is the right way. So I like to write the right way, okay? So I know that 8 is on top of the 7. So 8 is Ned, 7 is Donkey. So Ned leads Donkey. And then remember, Ned's going to go in the house. Donkey's going to stay outside. Sorry, I'm congested. Okay, so I'm looking for which one does not equal these, because I know these are right. All right? So does 7 go in front of 8? No.
No.
8 does
Donkey's
go in the
gonna
house.
kick Ned.
Right. 8 goes on top of 7. 8 goes in front of 7. So 8 is the only one that does not work.
All right, the 6th grade math team competed in a golf contest. Everything's about golf today. The names and scores of the players on the teams are shown in the table. The team score is the sum of all scores in the table.
Ooh, some
What
keyword.
is 6th grade math team score? Okay, so what are we going to be doing on this?
I saw the keyword sum.
We're going to be adding these up, right? But we have some integers, Miss Neal, so what do you think? What strategy? What's our strategy?
Team positive versus team negative.
So let's do team positive, team negative. And we've got -3. So what side that go on?
Team
The
negative.
negative side. We've got +4. That's going to go on the positive side. We've got -5. Go on the negative side, and -1 on the negative side. Okay, so we've got all of these. All of these right here, they all have the same sign, so what can we do with those? We can add them
Same
up.
signs add. Keep the same sign. Different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number.
Good job. So 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. And then so now we have 4 on one side and we've got 9 on the other.
Team negative
Which
wins.
team wins? Negative. And then we just need to figure out how much it won by. So 9 minus 4 is 5, which leaves C, -5.
Okay. Number next. Miss McDaniel said that she had finished reading 32% Oh
What
my
is
gosh,
that?
I see a percent. My mind is already going fraction bar equals fraction bar. I'm just going to go ahead and write it. Because anytime I see a percent in 6th grade, I'm going to be doing that. If the book has 400 pages, which could be the number of pages Miss McDaniel had finished reading. Okay, so again, it's always part over whole equals percent over 100. So obviously my percent is 32%. That's going to go over here. Okay, and then I've got to figure out, this is the hard part, is 400 pages my part or my whole? Well, it says if the book has 400 pages, that's the whole book. That's got to be at the bottom. I've got to figure out the part that Miss McDaniel has already read. Okay, so we could do the cross multiply where we multiply these two and then we would divide by 100. But this one's actually, we could actually scale this one. So I'm probably going to do that. So I see that I can go from 100 to 400 by multiplying by 4. But our golden rule is whatever I do on bottom,
Do on the top.
gotta do to the top. So multiply by 4. So then I'm going to come over here, 32 times 4. And I know that 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I know that out of the 400 pages, the part that she has read is 128. And I see this answer right here, 32. That's not going to be our answer. Never just pick whatever the number of the percent is. That is not the number. Percent's not the number.
And would C be reasonable? Would the part she read be more than the whole book?
No! Silly answers. Get rid of them.
All right.
Gym
Order of
balls.
operations. So we use GMDOS. Remember, GMDOS is for everything. There's never a problem in math that we say, hey, let's not use GMDOS this time. Okay, so let's look at my operations. I have subtraction, I have addition, and I have division. Okay, these parentheses are just to tell me that this negative belongs to this 5. So I've got to decide what order to work them on. So there are no grouping symbols because those parentheses are just to tell me that's a negative. There are no exponents. So the next thing I'm going to check is multiplication and division. I'm going to work that left to right. So I do see that there's division. So I'm going to do 50 divided by negative 5. So because there's integers, I also have to use my Dorito man because it's division. So because I have a negative and a positive, what's left?
Negative.
So 50 divided by 5 is 10. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative 10. Okay, and like what they did, I'm going to leave that in parentheses. So I know that that's a negative sign, not a subtraction sign. Should have rewrote this. Okay, plus 4 minus 8. In fact, I'm going to go rewrite that.
Good job, Miss Passion.
I know.
She doesn't want to make a mistake and have to do it again.
Right? It really saves you time in the long run. Okay, so now I have subtraction and addition. Okay, and just because A is before S in GMDOS, remember, we work these left to right every single time. So subtraction can totally be before addition. And that's the case. 8 minus 4, I'm working left to right. 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 plus negative 10 is all that I have left.
Team negative, team positive.
Yeah, just like what Mr. Foster did earlier. Team positive has 4, team negative is 10. So team negative wins by 6 points. So negative 6 should be my answer.
All right, Miss Kemp records the prices clocked at a store. The prices are shown in the table. It's got lots of data for us to look at. We'll look at that in just a second. What is the median price of watches in dollars? Median. Ooh, Miss Neal, I don't remember what that means.
Hey, diddle diddle. Median's in the middle.
So what do we need to know, or what do we need to do, Miss Neal, in order to put those, to figure out what numbers are in the middle?
We've got to put them in order from least to greatest in order to put them in the middle, and they're not in least to greatest.
No, they're not. Let's go ahead and do that. So we've got the first number is
9.
That looks like the smallest number to me. Then we've got 12. And then we've got 13. Ooh, I see 2 13s.
2 13s.
And then we've got 17. Then we have 19. Then we have 21. And lastly, we have 24. 4. Okay? So we need to figure out which ones are in the middle, so I'm going to mark them off. We got 1, 2, 2, 3, 3.
Oh
We've
no!
got 2 in the middle.
So
What
we
does
have
that
2
mean?
answers?
That doesn't mean we have 2 answers. That means we need to find the average of those 2 numbers, right? So in order to find the average, we need to add them together, and then we need to divide by what?
2, because that's how many numbers there
there's
are.
2 numbers there, so we're going to have to divide by 2. So 7 plus 3 is 10. We carry our 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. We get 30. And then we need to take 30 and divide it, like we said a second ago, by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. And that is 2. We subtract. Bring down our 0.
Bring down.
2 goes into 10 how many times?
5 times.
5 times, which is 10. We subtract and get 0. Our answer is 15. This is a griddable, so make sure that when you grid it, that you pay attention. First of all, it's a positive, and you need to pay attention to where that decimal is. That is a whole number 15. It goes on that side of the decimal.
Prime factorization. So, I see the word prime. Those are prime numbers. Remember, prime means you can only multiply by the number and 1. Okay, so like 2 is prime because the only way I can multiply to get to 2 is 2 times 1. 3 is prime. The only way to get to 3 is 3 times 1. Factorization is a big old word, but it actually has the word factor in it. We know our factors. Factors are like ways to multiply. So I'm looking at all the numbers that are prime, and I can multiply to get to 160. So we're going to make a factor tree. And the cool thing about factor trees is my tree can look different than your tree, and we can still get the same answer. So I'm going to break this up. The first thing I see is there's a 0 at the end, so I'm multiplying by 10. And I know 16 times 10 gives me 160. So now I've got some smaller things to work with. These are not prime numbers, though, so they're not done. So I got to keep going. I got to make more branches off my tree. So I can break 10 down. I know that 2 times 5 is 10. And guess what? 2 is prime and 5 is prime. So I always circle my prime numbers, and I go ahead and cross off the numbers that are not prime because I'm not using them. 16. There's a couple ways I can break that up. I could do 2 times 8. I could do 4 times 4. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 times 4. And again, those 4s are not done. They are not prime. So I can keep going, make it little mini branches off of them too. I know that 2 times 2 is 4. Those are prime. And again, 2 times 2 is 4. So now I'm only looking at the numbers that I circled. We usually go in order from least to greatest. So I've got 2. But I don't just have 1 2. I have 5 2s. So 2 is my base. That's the number we see on our factor tree, and I have it 5 times. So I'm going to use the exponent 5 to represent it.
Does that mean 2 times 5, Miss Neal?
No, never. That means 2 to the power of 5. That means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
Which would be way bigger than
just 2 times
10,
5.
right?
Yeah. And then I also have this 5 here, so I'm going to bring him down. I only have 1 of him. You could put the exponent 1, but we know that not having an exponent is the same as having exponent 1. And then I put a little multiplication in the middle of them, and we are done. So let's find our answer choice. Looks like A is the correct answer.
Thank you. Okay, the table below shows the low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for a city, each for 8 days. What is the range? Okay, range is the biggest number minus the smallest number. So don't make the mistake of just doing the last and the first, because that's what lots of people do. So I definitely want to go through and find the biggest one. It's always a good habit just to go ahead and put them in order. So yes. I see that my lowest one is 45. No, correct me. I'm doing it wrong. And so I use that one. Then it looks like 47. Then it looks like
61.
Thank you. Then it looks like 68. Then it looks like 70. Then 80.
And notice how Miss Basham is like putting dots so she knows which one she used. It's really confusing if you don't cross out or put something there so you know which ones you used.
Yeah, and if I scribble it out and then I mess it up, then like I can't see it.
Yeah,
So
smart.
So I see that 82 is my biggest. I see that 45 is my smallest. So now it's just a simple subtraction problem. But it's also real easy to mess these up if you don't use the right numbers.
True.
So that becomes 12 minus 5, which is 7. 7 minus 4, which is 3. So I've got 37. If I were to put this in a griddable, that'd be positive, and the 37 would need to go in front of the decimal. And Miss McDaniel has joined us.
Yay!
Woo woo!
Hey, double
It's
back.
good time.
Miss McDaniel in the house.
Okay.
Miss McDaniel, since you just joined us, I feel like we should offer a prize for staying with us this
Yes.
long.
Yeah.
If you come to school and say the word summer,
Ooh.
what should we give candy or should we give money?
How about both?
Okay, we'll give you one piece of candy, and we will also give you $100.
Yeah.
I love
say
it.
I'll do $100.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for sticking with
Your
us.
teachers are banking.
Okay. Mrs. Basham wrote the expression shown on the whiteboard. 132.50 minus 20.50 plus 5 times, then in parentheses 97.50 plus 8. Which expression is equivalent to the one Mrs. Basham wrote? So let's see. This looks like order of operations, so I'm just gonna write down June dolls, just so I know what I need to solve first. So I need to solve the groupings first, so I'm going to subtract 132.50 minus 21.50. Do I need to line them up by decimals?
Yes,
Subtraction,
add and
yes.
subtract. Line them up.
Okay, 132.50 minus 21.50. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then I'm going to bring down the 1. So I have 111. And then this 5, what do we call him again?
Coefficient or lifeguard?
Lifeguard.
Yeah, sorry, it's lifeguard.
Lifeguard. But
Yeah, lifeguard. But really, I think I'm just going to solve the grouping.
that's what I would do too, Miss
Yeah.
McDaniel.
So I'm going to make sure I add a decimal and 2 zeros. So I'm going to add these two together, 97 and 5/10 plus 8. I'm going to add my decimal and 2 zeros. And I'm going to get 0, 5. This is going to be 15.
Look at all her decimals lined up beautifully.
Mm-hmm. So I know that these two will be 105. This is 111. So if I rewrite it, I have 111 plus 5 times 105.
Point
And-
five.
Get your 50 cents.
50 cents.
Oh yeah, and 50 cents. Thank you. It's been a day. So it looks like my answer choice would be C.
Yeah, you didn't even have to work it all the way down. That's
Aw,
awesome.
how
So always
nice
check
are
in on the
they?
answer choices.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for letting me join y'all. By the
Anytime.
way.
You can always work math problems with us.
There is a 1 in 4 chance of students picking the correct answer on a test. Whoa, that's because they don't watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
Which value is equivalent to the chance of the player winning a game? So we're looking for an equivalent value. This 1 in 4, when I hear that, I automatically think fraction. That can be written as a fraction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a benchmark, so I hope you already know it.
They should.
Yes.
But if you don't, there's ways to find out. We can
Neato.
always do NITO, numerator in the house, denominator outside, and we can do that division, okay? But we also know it's 1/4 and it's 25 cents. So this kind of looks like 25 cents, but is that the same thing as 25 cents?
No,
Mm-mm.
$2.50 is way bigger.
Yeah, so
Also
that's
say,
a
you
trick.
could also say that decimal with place value to help you find the right answer.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay, is 75 cents the same as 25 cents?
No.
No. Is there any way I could turn 1/4 into 2/5?
Mm-mm.
No. So, like, this is my only option. Then if I said this decimal, remember the place value, so that it would be 25 hundredths. And look at this. And this is 25 over 100. I could also multiply these by 25 and get 25 over 100.
All right, a pharmacist puts 3 and 672 thousandths ounces of vitamin pills into bottles. She put 36,000 ounces. I'm not saying that right. It's like a tongue
It's hard to get
twister.
those.
Vitamin pills into each bottle. How many bottles did the pharmacist use for these vitamin pills?
Do we have the total, or are we looking for the total?
We have the total.
Ooh.
She's not going to get any more ounces of pills. She has a total that she's splitting up into bottles.
What do you think?
Diva.
Multiply.
Subtract, check,
So what number goes in my house?
My total. That's what I'm
Good.
splitting out.
Nice.
Remember, she said that's what I'm cutting in the other problem.
Don't we have a fun saying when we divide with decimals?
Yes.
Move the ball to the wall.
And raise the roof.
Wait, no, move in the house, then raise the roof.
Yes.
Move in the house, then raise the
Move
roof.
it in the house.
Then raise the roof with the decimal up there.
All right, so it has a new home. You don't need to mess with it.
Okay, 36. Can it go into 3?
No, way
No,
too
can
small.
36 go into 36?
Yes, one
How many
time.
times? One time. Good.
Exactly.
Precise numbers too.
Mr. Foster is
Oh,
so good at
man, whoever
dividing.
made this
Wow.
review really just.
And bring down our 7. 36 go into 7?
No.
No, let's bring down our 2 as well.
We gotta give him a hat, like Miss Kip says.
yeah.
Give 7 a hat. It goes in there 0 times.
0 times. What about 72? Is 36 going to 72?
I think so.
Yes.
How many times?
Twice.
2 times, which is 72. We subtract and get 0.
Oh, I love it when we
So
get
our
zero.
answer was a nice and pretty 102.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget that 0, guys. That's the trick.
Okay, a florist put 2 types of flowers in a vase. The 2 types of flowers were roses
Ooh.
and carnations. The ratio, keyword,
UKSN.
of the number of carnation flowers, so we're talking about carnation flowers first, to the total
Tricky.
number of flowers was 9 to 17. Which of these could be the number of roses that the florist put in the vase? So I'm going to write out UKSN. And notice I put another line because we had the total up here, so I know I'm going to have a total. I'm talking about roses. I'm going to put R for roses, and carnations. I'm going to put a C for carnations. So I'm going to use the ratio they gave us. Remember, with ratio, order matters. So it says first, carnations were first in my problem. It said carnation flowers, so the first number was 9, so that's what I know. And then it also says that the total, that's down here, was 17. So that's going to go there. So if I know that there's 17 total flowers, and I take away 9 that are carnations, can I figure out how many are roses? Yes. 17 minus 9, which is 8. Okay. And then it's just asking what could be the number of roses. So I don't care about the bottom part. All I really care about now is what's going on up here. So I don't know the scale. I'm multiplying by some random number. Who cares? But I know that I'm multiplying by 8. So this has to be on my 8 hashtag. Whatever goes here is a multiple of 8.
Let's
So,
count by 8.
ooh, let's do it. Let me make a hashtag.
Ooh, a hashtag.
Here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32.
I see it.
Oh, we see it?
Yep.
Oh, already. Look how easy that was. We didn't have to go far.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy. Okay, Daniel, you're up.
Yay.
Come over here. There's a speaker over here.
Okay.
She's got to get close to the microphone, y'all.
Where's the...
Are we done?
Is that it?
Oh, that's it.
Oh, that was the end. We wanted to keep going.
Oh, man,
More
should we
math,
have
more
more
math.
Well, thanks for staying with us this long. Watch the review. Your last mid. Y'all got this.
Major goal.
Study.